Texas for Life 2022 edition. I'm Ted P.
I'm Chad Kuvo. My filters didn't work today, so this is all I got.
I thought those horrible sunglasses were your
my sunglasses.
The fingerprints on them, I can see.
You look like a beetle.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
you see all the smudges from you fumbling.
Well, they're tough to get on and off. You got to touch them to get them on and off. See, look at that.
Yeah,
like my grandpa.
From your grubby fingers.
Like my own grandpa. Look at this color. Oh, no, that didn't work out. That's
no, my father-in-law does that all the time when we go golfing, and I'm like, Steve, just stop.
You have now reached the age where you have clip-on sunglasses. I just want to point that out.
Hey, Chad, how old are you?
Lindsay, absolutely.
58. He's 58 years old today.
I was going to say.
Lindsay absolutely hates them.
Jeez, we went from 2021 to 2022. You aged 25 years. I don't know.
No, you went from 2021 to 2022. I went to 2086.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
What's the coronavirus like in the future? Are we still dealing with it?
It's great.
Future Chad.
Oh, the dogs are going crazy.
Future Chad. That's what we
I'm Joe Surratt, by the way. Hey, before we get started, I just wanted to give a little pump to MBW. They sent us these sweet vests. I think you guys got them too, right?
It did.
They're North Face vests. They're actually pretty sweet.
I did. I'd talk to you, but my dogs won't stop barking.
We don't care about you anyway, Chad. So just be quiet while we're listening.
Well, we can't hear them.
Good talk. It's the best you've been all episode.
So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you to Dave Kepsel and Rick Grimal and Andy Malter and the MBW crew for sending these along. I know they couldn't have been cheap. They actually are North Face and they're pretty pimp. So,
and they have our logo on the back too.
They do.
They have Obsco logo on. Let me take it off and show.
That's okay.
No, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's back there. Believe
me.
You probably just turn around and pick it up.
I'll wear it backwards next time.
Nice. So guys, it's our first episode of 2022. Can you guys believe that we now have episodes in 2020, 2021, and now 2022? I can never have imagined that we were doing it. What?
I can't believe that we're still friends.
I mean, friends is a strong word.
Like, we're friendish.
Friendish.
Yeah. How was everybody's holidays? You guys have a good holiday? Let's not get into a long drawn out. Let's just give a synopsis.
Yeah, when was the last time we actually recorded? It was
before Christmas.
It was right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas.
Why don't? Yeah, we're just going to talk about sports again and presents and our kids, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Kids got everything.
I'll go real quick. We didn't do a lot for a few days. Christmas was great. Logan's been home, just left this morning. Happy to have him here. It was awesome.
Funny, he texted me and said he was miserable at home. It's weird.
That's fine. I didn't care. I didn't care if he was miserable. I was happy.
I just got a text that said, "Help me."
Get me out of this house.
It's tough when you lock him in the basement. He needs help.
I've been to your basement. It wouldn't be a bad place to live.
No, it's not. It's not bad. He was supposed to go to Boston for a tournament over in between Christmas and New Year's. That got canceled because of the Rona, which I actually was okay with. I mean, it gave him another 4 or 5 days to be at home and just kind of let his body relax. New Year's, we went to the OSU hockey game. And watched the kid from Columbus here that plays for Long Island University Division I that Logan skates for. That he plays for LIU. So the Sharks, that's who the kid from Columbus plays for is Long Island. Their second year Division I program. But they got smushed. But then I fell asleep at like 11:30. There's a video of me sleeping while the ball's dropping.
I didn't make it to the ball drop either. My week was good. I mean, it was fine. You know, I had the girls and we did all the stuff that we normally do, Christmas stuff and presents and all that jazz. The kids got absolutely everything that they wanted and more, which is, you know, the staple of America these days. And you know, it was pretty normal. New Year's, I was asleep, I think, by 11.
Yeah,
I was super tired. They need to do the ball drop at like 7:30.
Well, I'm gonna try and just celebrate it on UK time.
There you go. I don't know when that is.
It would be like 6 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. I'm gonna start doing that. Hey,
you guys should make it a tradition.
It's actually funny.
Really quick, did you guys see? I just thought this was funny. With all the restrictions over in Italy and the Netherlands and everywhere, did you see that they banned fireworks for New Year's? Did you see that?
No.
Did you see any of the videos?
They probably looked like
it looked like there was a war going on. Like there was so many, the sky was lit up, like everybody blew up fireworks.
Isn't that amazing? That,
it was
that
impressive.
when they try and do things like that, it's the exact opposite.
Do you remember when we started bombing Baghdad years ago and they had all the anti-aircraft gunfire?
That's what
That's literally what it looked like, but with explosions at the end. Yeah, it was insane.
Teddy did you did a whole bunch in between there.
Yeah, we were busy.
Lost the basement. You did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so Christmas was Christmas, so Christmas Eve was funny. So we had my family over here, my side of the family, that is, and we utilized our basement bar for the 4th time ever since we've lived here, because normally it's a teenager hangout. So
how were the steaks?
Steaks were tremendous as usual.
Oh, I cooked them too.
Cooked them on the Blackstone. Highly love it. Love the Blackstone.
I cooked mine in the oven.
Yeah. Hey, we use the Blackstone.
Also delicious.
Yeah, also delicious. And then Christmas, Christmas Day was Christmas Day. And then my daughter and I, we flew out Christmas night out of Syracuse.
Right. I forgot you did that.
And went to Dallas. And shout out to Phil Wiegers. Man, Phil, you are a blessing. Phil hooked us up with some Dallas Cowboys tickets. My daughter and I made a little trip out of it. We went to a Cowboys game on Sunday night. And then Monday we went to Six Flags. Tuesday we went to the zoo. We just had a great time down in Texas, and it was amazing.
Did Nick win his game?
And Nick's game was canceled. That my son and I were supposed to go. He switched them out because he was supposed to have a game, and then they canceled it for COVID. So yeah. So then
he couldn't play. He couldn't.
How I feel about that.
Wait a minute. So let me get this straight. He couldn't play in a basketball game in your town, but you went to Texas into a football game.
99,000 people on the
Hey, do you
Sunday,
think
he couldn't play?
Do you think Phil got these too, or because it's in Texas they didn't get like these? I wonder. Phil, comment. Did you get these too?
Phil hasn't watched this since he was on. Stop.
So then, and then New Year's, we just New Year's we went out to a dinner with a couple of friends, and then we got home. The ceiling caved in my basement because we had a leaky pipe from some corrosion in one of our copper pipes, and it flooded my entire basement bar ceiling out and the wall to the bathroom. So
it's because you bought the money pit.
I didn't buy the money pit.
I think you did.
Not really.
You might want to check the structural integrity of your stairs.
Even if
is Shelly Long at your house?
Why is it the money pit? I'm putting stuff into it, but this is the first thing that's ever gone wrong with it. Right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Between your carpet cleaning, your fence, your concrete, your driveway.
It's all just new projects.
Your rugs.
Yeah, that's all just stuff she wants. Happy wife, happy life.
You could also call that the money pit.
Money pit. I was talking about Eileen.
Whatever you're calling it.
It's all about Eileen.
So,
I was calling Eileen the money pit. I was talking about that.
Oh yeah, that I agree.
Yeah, now you're on. You're right on.
100% right, Joe.
Nailed it. So, all right. Anyways, well, I'm glad to see you guys.
Is it time for Joe's idiom?
Oh, all right.
Oh, hang on. I wasn't ready. Go ahead. You can go. I'll find
We've
it.
literally been.
I'll wait.
It happens every
wait.
Yeah, it's this one, right?
Yeah, sure. It's whatever one you want it to be. Why is there a stripe? That stripe.
I like it. It just makes me look. If you put those stripes, it's just make you look thinner.
You look like the first slide of a PowerPoint presentation.
Can we use the same format, Joe?
Can you make yourself like do the?
My chair is broken right now for some reason, and it just keeps going down.
Maybe that's a sign, Teddy.
I'm losing weight, Joe.
You're losing something.
My mind.
Yeah.
Give me the
my chairs. I don't think mine goes down, is it? No. Oh, yeah.
Now it won't work right.
Mine's never done that. I don't think it's ever moved. So now it's gonna be like, so idiom, yeah. So this one you guys might get, but I thought it was cool and appropriate for my children because they've just developed this concept. You guys are familiar with the term riding shotgun, right? So that's riding in the passenger seat, in the front passenger seat. Well, my two older daughters are now old enough that is now an issue.
Oh yeah.
And I've had to institute a policy that they just alternate because otherwise I'll never go anywhere. They will just fight in the driveway. So I was just wondering if you guys had any idea where the term riding shotgun.
I will answer the question, but then I want to know what the policy is.
They just alternate.
See, mine is my policy with my two kids is odd days is Nicholas, even days is Christina.
That's a good one. But the problem is that I have a third one that's going to be entering the mix soon.
Yeah.
And that's going to throw everything off. So
I just know that Logan won't ever let Zoe sit up front.
yeah, my kids aren't that way. So anyways, riding shotgun. You boys have any idea?
I do. I think it's
You go, Teddy. I had a couple actually.
You know, back in the olden days, you know, when we lived in a free America,
the 80s,
and whatnot.
2019, you mean?
Yeah, back in 2019. No, honestly, you know, people used to always travel with a weapon, a shotgun in the front seat, and that was in case you were getting, you know, your stagecoach hijacked, or you were getting, hunting. I don't know. You just had a shotgun in the front seat with you at all times.
I still do. You don't?
The semi-machine gun.
I heard you keep yours. I heard you keep yours in the suitcase.
Yeah, that's a good joke. Go ahead.
Great story behind that.
You won't be telling that today.
Mine is I'm stuck between two. I just feel like it's a getaway driver with a guy that's riding point and with a shotgun and take, you know, if you're going to rob a bank, you don't just want a getaway driver. If you're running in the car, you want somebody that's able to shoot back too. That's my thought.
Teddy's the closest and pretty much spot on. In the Wild West, the person who sat next to the driver of the stagecoach was also equipped with a shotgun to kill any robbers that might happen upon them.
How was he right? He just said there was a shotgun in the passenger seat. I said it was the person.
Yeah, but he also said in the old days, and he said stagecoach. So I feel like he
doesn't even know.
Chad, you're getting muted if you don't say anything else.
Chad, your thing was if you were robbing somebody, this was to prevent robbing. You were actually the exact opposite.
We're gonna ask Doug for a vote. Doug, let us know. Thank
Closest
you.
to the actual.
And Leroy, if you can let us know.
You as well, please.
Who you think was
He didn't comment on our last one. He must have been on a hiatus. He's not going to get his t-shirt.
He doesn't like you anymore. He messaged me and was like, you know, I've really grown tired of Chad.
I didn't say I was going to give him an upgrade.
I've really grown tired of Chad.
He goes, you guys should replace Chad with me. And I was like, yeah, I like that idea.
We were actually interviewing Leroy for this. All right, so that's that. That's all I have. I mean, I have more, but no one wants to hear them, so let's just move on.
It's still great. All right. What time is it, Chad?
All right, so I posted this morning, Chad.
It was long. I read it, most of it at least.
Voted.
I skipped the little words.
If you read the paragraph above, you would have been able to figure out the answer, but that was kind of a little joke, which apparently no one's got because right now the voting is.
I voted for the first one.
So in the United States alone, there is enough natural gas pipeline to wrap around the planet blank times. So just in the United States, the amount of gas piping that's in the ground for natural gas can go around the world if you laid it all end to end. How many times?
I'm gonna go with my same one, which was 150. I think.
No, 84. That's not even a choice. 105, 58, or 121.
120, whatever the highest one was.
108.
The correct answer is 120.4. I rounded up to 121 because I figured since that came out, it probably was a little bit more. Somebody probably put in a little bit more on the ground. But it's 121. Actually, right now, leading the clubhouse is 58. Most people have voted for 58, 36%. And the lowest is actually the correct answer. So we'll see how this shakes out in the end. Usually the right answer.
That's a lot of times around the world, huh?
That's insane to think
about. So to figure this out, I had to figure out how many miles it was around the earth. Do you guys know? I just found this out today, so I'm going to tell you because it boggled my mind.
Yeah.
Take a guess.
How many miles is it to go around the earth?
2,500, I believe.
2,500.
Wait, no, I'm trying.
We're talking about
circumferentially.
No, around.
Yeah, that's circumferentially. I did radius first. So if I
do radius, I didn't say it if you
drilled. I made all that up. I made it all up, so I didn't sound stupid.
Well, now I'm going to figure out what the radius.
Really dumb. I'm going to go with.
I feel like I used to know this.
3 million miles.
How does that math work?
I feel like it's like 12,000.
Anything else? 2,500, 3 million, 12,000.
4.
3 million, Ted? What do we live on, Jupiter?
3 million miles. If you flew to Australia in one flight, you'd be in the Million Mile Club.
But there's 3 million miles of gas piping in the ground. So that would be one time around the earth.
I didn't know the answer was 3 million.
It's 24,901 miles. By the way, Chad, the radius of the earth is 3,963 miles. Okay, sure.
What if you just went like 20 degrees off of equator?
Oh, it's to change substantially.
Well, then you could go down to 15,000.
You know what I learned the other day, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I learned this the other day since we're talking about the Earth, that like we think that the Earth is round, but it's not actually round. It's like more like pear-shaped. Did you guys know that?
No. Pear-shaped? Wait, pear-shaped?
I don't know if that's true or not, but I read it the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna look it up.
Kyrie Irving read that the Earth was flat and said it in an interview. It sounded like an idiot for the rest of his life, so I wouldn't talk about all that stuff on air.
Yeah, listen. Earth is not only oblate, it's wider at the equator, pole to pole, but it's pear-shaped, slightly wider south of the equator. Astrophysicists and NASA say now the Earth is oblate or pear-shaped due to the pull of the oceans by the moon's gravity. Yeah, so the Earth is pear-shaped. It's not actually round. I saw a thing on like a space shot of it, and it was like pear. It was like
we are so far off the tracks. It's
but this is all very interesting stuff.
It is.
This is connections for universe. Or just connections for Earth.
All right, so I'm going to bring in our guest now, guys.
Earth facts.
All right. Joe's earthly opinions on facts.
Earthly opinions.
According to Teddy, we're 3 million miles from China. Take us 46 days in a plane. One flight.
So this week we've got a special guest. He's been on our show before, but never as a solo guest. He's one of our closest friends in the industry. He has shared many experiences with us throughout this journey that started in the webcast world during COVID. And
I don't think he's ever been on our show at all.
No, we've done
not like as a guest.
You mean
like
like the game show and stuff?
Yeah.
All right,
so,
fair enough.
Now that I hinted away, it is Mr. James Cross of Energy World Net. James is obviously the co-host of Coffee with Jim and James, and he is also the brand curator for EWN. He's where we get all of the sweet swag that we always rock on the show.
Our hats and our cups,
hats, our cups, all of the above. Thanks to that man right there, his creative brain and the team that he entrusts with that responsibility come up with some awesome stuff.
He's also in charge of HR.
He is in charge, which is so funny. So funny.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, but without further ado, welcome to the show, our friend James Cross. Hello, James. Welcome to Connections for Life. How are you, my friend?
I don't know if that was recording because I hadn't hit got it yet. I just hit got it.
No, it's definitely recording. It doesn't care.
It records whether you're in it or
not. Now it's just embarrassing.
That
wasn't a good start.
We've been on Zoom for 18 months, and you still don't know that after you.
He doesn't record. They don't record on
semi-new feature. I mean, in the last,
what do you record
months? On? Zoom, yeah, we do.
Oh, you do. So you should know.
You should know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Always the guy recording though.
But he doesn't edit his either.
I've never been on the side, guys. It's really
wow. This went downhill quick.
It is hard. I mean, oddly enough, you guys just posted the interview you did with me, and it is difficult being on the other side. It's a weird position to be in. You get so used to being the interviewee and not the interviewer.
I will say it can get more weird. So I did a couple of podcasts that were literally just podcasts, right? So there was no video, and it's really weird to just get on and do audio only and never see the person. You've never seen the person.
Actually.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know if they're joking. I mean, it's pretty obvious when Chad's joking, you know?
Well, darn it. I really better get a better poker face.
That's a good point. Before we get into it and we start asking you the questions that we're going to pepper you with, you know, we have podcasts that are just all audio. I mean, all your audio, all your Apple and you know, other ones are all Spotify are all. How come nobody has come out with like a video podcast like a platform, or have they that I'm just not aware of? Like we record on
YouTube
Zoom.
has it with Joe Rogan.
But that's YouTube. I mean, there's not like a specific like.
Well, I don't even know how I watch my own stuff
The
because I
next
don't
thing
watch
that's
it
the
very
next
often.
thing.
You know,
James, the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to hang up and Joe's going to go, hey, can you figure out how to make webcasts on like our own thing, call it like Joe's
I got
Cast?
this thing. We'll call
Yeah,
it.
I got this thing. I have this idea.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, I just
I'm that
noticed
guy,
something too.
What?
Before we get started, James, we're gonna need you to lean back and see if you got the memo about wearing the athletic sweatshirt hoodie. Where's your brand? What brand is that?
Oh, that's Energy World now.
oh, I don't know.
Oh,
What
Yeah,
other
you got
brand
that
would
sweet
you
swag.
have?
Hey, listen, why don't I have a hood
I
at
like
Energy
that.
World
I
now?
like it.
I'm a little
I-
fan.
I have to level with you. About 80% of my clothing now is from Energy World. I wear your t-shirts pretty much every day.
Yeah.
You have a stack behind you of hats. I have a stack over here that I keep because I'll switch out, and I'm not even wearing the hat, right?
Not even
wearing
Stack of hats up on the shelf over there.
I hope you never get your camera back in the right spot again.
It's gonna drive you crazy. It's gonna be off a little bit.
Oh,
Oh.
I think it's
Came
low.
right back.
No.
All right. So, anyways,
Hold on.
while you're here,
Look at
Whoa.
that.
there's your stack of hats.
The address is 740 Larchmont. James, just throw them in the box and write it on there with a marker.
Oh, I used to switch them out per episode, like to try to
See, here's
bring.
the
variety.
crazy thing. Normally, when James interviews people, he sends them stuff. Now he's getting interviewed and he's going to send us stuff.
Yeah.
I don't need anything else. If I could just need 6 more Jim and James coffee mugs, then I can
He's
just
trying to
have a whole
complete the
set.
set.
I do
I'll
have
tell
a
you
customer
something
who
funny.
wants that still.
This was one of my favorite hats that we ever did.
I
It was
have-
the first one that was a little different, like that we kind of went out there on. And before then it was camo hats and all kinds of right. So that one right there is my favorite. So I made this patch in about 12 minutes one day in Photoshop and got it approved. I printed one out and stuck it on a hat just to show it. And they were like, I guess. Anyway,
I
didn't even
guess.
update, didn't go back and update the design and clean it up.
It's
nothing. Just
awesome.
sent it, print it, done. And it's one of my favorite. Like,
Everybody thinks it's a Patagonia hat.
I know, don't say that. God bless America.
Like I just
Like that's a
blew it all
secret.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't think that's what you're going for.
I got a weird shaped head. None of the hats fit me right.
I feel like Facebook was listening to that.
I wore
one.
mine so much. Look at the color of the brim.
Oh,
It's gross.
That's great.
I thought it was the brown one.
Sweat yellow. Perfect.
I golfed in it a bunch.
All right.
That'll,
Well,
that'll ruin the hat.
Thanks,
we all know that you have awesome swag. We know that, and we're embarrassed by it because our stuff is like we give out an occasional pancake mix. But the first thing we want to ask you is that I think most people have gotten to know you or through this, they know you didn't really start off in the energy industry. You've been very upfront about that. But how did you get into the industry? Like, how did you get into from where you were? And like, I think it was IT, right? Into this.
Yeah,
world.
it kind of combines the first 2 questions we have written there, really. But I think the whole story. Way to go, Joe. Thanks for reading them before we started. Good preparation as usual. But just to answer it together, because you've told us the story, and I think it's pretty awesome. So go ahead.
You bet. No, for sure. So I was in technology before now, and actually I'm still in technology. I'd say I walked away from technology, but I was really on the other side of it, as in I was a programmer for 13, 14 years, big chunk of time. Was able to do everything from quality assurance to actually writing code, front end, back end, designing interfaces.
That's wild to me.
The whole thing. Was really blessed to get an opportunity and get to learn on the job, and had a great mentor.
What was that? What industry was that when you started?
So when I started, it was a weird thing. We had it was kind of like an online travel agency like Expedia or Orbitz. We were top 5, in the world. It was just based out of the little town not too far from me. And so I got an opportunity to be a tester there. And really, I just cruised the website and made bookings and broke stuff, right, and reported it. And then I got to work with a group, that was writing the code behind the scenes. And the guy was like, man, you have a really good understanding. Would you have any interest in learning? And I'm like, man, I was not a computer guy. I
Right.
was like, I paid people to type my research papers, in high school. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't type, you know, like
Yeah.
that. And so I was like, sure. I mean, I'll try anything. So I really got to learn on the job, learn how to code,
That's pretty neat.
and did that for 10, 15 years. It felt like.
Isn't it crazy how, like, if that would have been, I think, approached to you differently from your employer and was like, we're going to move you into this department, you might have been like, I don't really have any interest in that. I don't want
No,
to do
for
that.
sure.
But instead, he was like, how would you like the opportunity to learn this? And I think that goes for is taken for granted in a lot of places in the workplace and employers, and they don't think like that to say, hey, let me give you an opportunity to learn a new skill set as opposed to moving you somewhere you don't want to be, doing something you don't want to do.
You're right, Ted. And I mean, it shaped me as a leader too.
Yeah.
I mean, because I mean, I don't have a degree. You know, that's an awkward
Same.
conversation when you go out and people are like, where'd you go to school? And everybody's rattling off, you know, Alabama and Purdue and this and that. And I'm like,
The Institute of
Mine's University of Maryland for a year and a half. Then I failed out. That's where I went.
Yeah,
I was 15 credits short of my bachelor's for all those that are wondering.
man, you should go get that, Joe.
I didn't go to school until I was
Oh.
30 something. So
And then you
Yeah.
failed out.
I did not. I graduated summa cum laude. Stop it.
From the tech college with 9.
That's not true either. I have
Oh.
a degree in organizational management and in the
What
associate
does that even
business
mean?
management.
Organizational management.
What is that?
Business.
Is that like
And-
shelving? You put in shelving units in the closet?
And oddly
No,
enough,
they're not
most
units of
hardcore and
shelves.
One of us all.
Sorry.
I
Wow.
respect it, Chad.
We need that tangent thing.
Ooh.
Sorry, we're still.
No.
Back to James.
So I got an opportunity there, and then I was able to move to a startup again where I was based in West Texas. And we built a software in the home health therapy space. So therapists that go into the home and do physical occupational speech therapy, right? And we built software to basically make that digital. You take iPads.
That's got to be wild. A startup on that side, like that's got to be.
Yeah. So we
crazy
were in
mindset, too.
technology, you know, in medical, and I did that for 10 years. I was the CIO there when I left, and that was 6 years ago. And I actually had relocated the company to Dallas Fort Worth, and the owners had moved the company and everything. We had a bunch of people go with us, and I was there up until 6 years ago when I came on board with Energy World Net. So that was really my dipping my toe in this industry was there. Now
Where are you originally from? Are you from West Texas?
I am. That's what I was about to say. Now, exposure-wise, I grew up in the Permian Basin. So I in the Midland, Odessa area.
Yeah.
Any Andrews folks out there, shout out. So I was exposed to it my whole life. My funny enough, my father-in-law, you know, did OQ for Targa. You know, so I never knew it. I never knew what he was talking about. But now we're in the same world, right? So there were a lot of overlaps. My family was more on the production side, E&P, but still I saw that, and but that's the big highs and lows, that side, coming from West Texas. There's a lot of that. And so when I got involved in this industry, honestly, it felt like home. A lot of the folks felt like folks I grew up with. I mean, a lot of them were. And I don't know. I walked in and felt like I knew a lot of people. And
Cool.
that helped me to get comfortable. We talk about how big and small it is, right? Yeah. So
I think that gave you a sense of belonging, though, right? Which is important especially when you go somewhere and you feel comfortable. I think that's a big important thing. So, do you want to go with the next question, Coops, or do you want me to just ask?
Go ahead, Joe.
I guess the thing is I think we kind of know this, but maybe everybody else doesn't. And you asked us this, so we're going to kind of ask you, how did you guys come up with the whole Coffee with Jim and James experience and say, hey, we're gonna just start doing this? I mean, what did that look like? And when you guys started talking about that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember it like yesterday. No, I do remember it very vividly because Jimmy called me and
bouncing off the wall.
I have a question for you before you get with that. How many times you talked to Jim a week before this? Like before COVID?
Well, so Jim was reported to me at the time.
Okay.
He was within the brand department, but he was executive director of strategic alliances at that time. So we did talk, but I did not work with him a lot. I mean, I didn't have to, right? Like he was self-sufficient and he would travel a lot. So really we didn't, but we tried when we were in when we went to the pandemic, we changed to where everybody on our team had like a scrum every morning, like per department, right? Just because we were all stuck at home and we want to make sure we were really efficient and all that. And we started bonding there, right? So every morning you got to talk with everybody and see them. But Jimmy called me one day and was just, I mean, you could tell he was upset, you know. I know Jim very well now, but at the time, you know, the Jim we see out in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I always say when I don't have it in me, I'm just like, be Jim Shower. Just be Jim Shower. Like when I don't have it and I got to walk in that hall and I'll walk in that door and I'll see that first person in the booth and hey, good morning. You know, like, and I'm Jim Shower at that moment, right? He calls and is just kind of off, you know, could tell and didn't really know how to talk about it even. And I was like, man, you can't be the only one that feels that way, right? And I was traveling, but not to the amount he was. And so I was like, sweet, be home for a little while, you know, and be with the family. So, but he was, you know, busting at the seams. So really, I said, man, why don't you just record a video? And y'all might remember it, you may not, but he was in the tiki lounge in the backyard, you know, in Florida. And he just recorded a little video and he sent it to me. And I said, just post that, man. You can't be the only one. And he did. And it was very therapeutic for him. And honestly, the first one I thought probably would be the last one. And we would get it out of our systems. And, kind of get that fixed. And we may send it out internally. We may not. And, the rest is history, I guess.
The rest is history.
I think it's, you know, similar paths. You know, I think for myself and Chad and Ted, we were very similar to Jim. There was like that 4-week period where we went, you know, what are we doing? Like, you know, we were used to
April.
Being
we called it April.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't that about the time frame?
Yeah. It was.
I wanted to talk, but since I have the at-home problem, my dogs were going nuts, and I don't know why. I remember
stop buying animals.
I'm done. Cats, they don't bark. Cats. I'm gonna have 50. But no, it was. I think you're right. It was like mid-April, and it was like we were just so used to being around people all the time, and with people, and with each other. Even. I mean,
well, our work was all done on the road, so when we weren't, it was like, what do we do? You know, like, I mean, we have to stay viable somehow.
I know that sounds so self-serving too.
It really was.
But it was
100%. The start of it was. It had really nothing other than to like fulfill our need. Which is stupid, but true.
It's true. I mean,
but when your need is your purpose and your purpose is what you enjoy to do for work, I mean, that happens to work together.
Oh, it was a nice byproduct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was nice.
I think it's crazy that we're still
doing it.
Still doing it. No, but it's not changed much, really. I mean, we're kind of still plugging along doing the same thing. Well, this isn't one of the questions we sent to you, but I thought of it. I want to ask is since we need ideas to figure out how to be more creative, I was wondering what you guys have planned for next year. If we can maybe get some of your ideas out really quick.
Absolutely. I will.
Talk about your next 6 to 12 months.
I am an open book for sure. You guys know that.
All kidding aside, my question really wasn't how can we steal your ideas, but my question was how, you know, as we mature, as the shows mature, as we bring on more guests, do you guys have any things that you're talking about to change the dynamic of the show, or any things that you're going to be introducing? And if you could talk about maybe some of the things coming up that might be exciting for people.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things.
Chad, write this down.
Yeah, you get it.
We got
Are y'all
we're recording it.
Oh, good.
Perfect.
The internet's hard.
He hasn't figured that out yet.
The internet's out.
75
Yeah,
episodes.
the internet's acting up. I gotta go.
This is our selfish motivation, right?
Yeah, froze up. No, we so we did. We really sat down. So I'll backtrack just a little bit further too. And I think we've had some of these conversations. I just don't know if they were on a show,
Probably
at a
not.
show,
Yeah.
pre-show, pre-shows, you know,
Happy
whatever.
hour.
Happy hours,
A
show.
random meeting on Thursday at 9.
Sure, Jack.
Advocacy group. All right. So where were we? No.
Selling
Good
me.
talk. It was good talking with you.
Yeah, man. That's basically it. No, we sat down. Well, kind of when we changed to the new logo, we sat down at that point and said, "Listen, are we going to do this or not?" Like, you know, kind of one of those moments to where if we're gonna lean in or we're not going to do it at all. And honestly, I thought coming out of it that we probably weren't going to do it at all. And I was very open with that I was okay with that. But we needed to show the value. We needed to, you know, make a product, you know, that no different than any other product, right? And so we did, and that was kind of when that new look came out, about halfway, about 50 episodes.
Okay.
And so we sat down together and we had some goals for that. One of those being taking it live, just like y'all. How does it translate in person? And is there an audience for it, a value to it? You know, how can we package and bring that together? And
quantify it.
the other part, absolutely. And the other big part was, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it and be super sustainable. Like where when we get back on the road and we start, you know, I pray that I'm too busy to do the podcast, you know, every day. But how can we make it better? And so we really leaned into those things. And what that allowed, the byproduct of that, in my opinion, is it allowed us to sit back a minute and say, now, what do we really want to do with the show? Because we weren't in the weeds so much that we couldn't pull off what we really wanted to do.
Right.
And so we began to shape the show a little bit different, but also lean in. Like I think we had really good feedback and viewership for the 7 Habits stuff. And I really enjoyed those a lot. And so we looked at, you know, we kicked off the mental health thing, the mental health series. And man, we've had some of the best episodes we ever recorded have been on that series. And it's a topic that we're very passionate about. And the fact that some of our best content is coming out of that is amazing to me. Another thing is we are, because of the departments that I serve, one of them being HR, we're going to bring a series about people and HR. Just like we're talking to HR. We pulled Ashley Knight from Southern Star, if you know her.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
VP of HR. She's amazing. She was on. We're going to have some of our HR folks on as well. Some other people talking about people strategy and really lean into that as well, because I think it's a fascinating topic, to be honest. And that's part of what we're doing, is trying to find little pockets that we can. If you would have told me that I had a podcast, but that I was talking about what I'm talking about, I wouldn't have believed. Like I really
still
wouldn't
don't
have.
believe it.
If you would have told me we were going to have a webcast, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
We
When
don't.
somebody comes on or wants to come on and just do the sales pitch, you know, it's not that fascinating to me. Nope.
No.
I mean, and so finding awesome guests has been the goal. Like, how do we continue to bring quality
It's
folks
tough.
and bring the right people back at the right times and orchestrate that a little bit more? But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. We're gonna go. We designated. I'm not gonna name them all yet because it's not 100% through budgets and all that yet. But I mean, we'll go the shows, but 6 or 8 shows that we're taking the show to live, and we're gonna maximize those experiences. So hopefully be on agenda speaking at the same time. Bring the show, you know, whether it be a game show or, you know, whatever way we can we host or do a panel with somebody and help out, trying to maximize those places where we're on boards and, you know, big involvements and sponsors and such.
I think I respect you guys a lot, obviously, and I respect what you do and how you're doing it. I think we'd like to take a bigger step into emulating maybe some of the things that you did for this year with your live content. You guys, and I'm not saying this to downplay anything, but you guys have the luxury of having an amazing support staff that allow you to do a lot of things that unfortunately right now we're kind of like mired in the details too much, and we can't get out of our own way. So I'm really super, I don't say jealous, but like envious, honestly, that you guys have done this, some of the things that you've done. And I'm really, I think it's cool that, you know, maybe I'm not right here, but I feel like that when you talk about Coffee with Jim and James, you talk about CFL, they're kind of like tied at the hip in some fashion. You know, we've been able to do some collaborative stuff with you guys and with Jim Kunkel and excuse me, some other things like that. But I've really enjoyed the collaboration and the communication, you know, kind of cross each other's shows. You know, when I want to ask a little bit about the game show that we did. That was a little off the cuff, a little wacky. I think we were kind of like all a little bit I don't say nervous, but like anxious as to how that was going to turn out. I don't think we ever actually really talked to you about it, but I wanted to ask, like, you know, how did you feel post all that? And did you think that, you know, with what we had and what we came up with was decent, you know?
I was, I don't want to say surprised, but I think we all were surprised how well it translated. And given if we, and I'm not knocking SGA on this, but I'm just saying, given if we had a stage and, you know, screens and stuff to support it more, I think in another setting, it's a great bit of entertainment. And I think just the shooting from the hip part was what was fun. Once we got moving, it was funny, man. I had a good time, and I was really surprised because I just didn't know how it would translate.
I could tell that you were, I think we were all like on that, like, what is this going to be like? And
then Ted walked away with the microphone to the other side.
That was before the thing started.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, for me, I just needed to get going before I felt comfortable. Like, I was like, what are we going to do? How is this going to work? And it just had to happen. And I think it took care of a lot of my fears or anxiety that when we do this again, that we'll be much more prepared, because we're not going to be so concerned about the content, but more about how the production of it happens.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, man, some of the bits just worked. Like we had such great participation from the crowd. You know, the guy that sat in a chair for half of it, you know, poor
seriously.
Guy.
And then the guy that we sent to go get a brownie that
he ate my brownie.
That was awesome.
Like, you can't plan that, like that fluidity of it all. And us, just like you said, when we got comfortable and just would pass the mic and, you know, play right through, you know, when something didn't go right. So I loved it. And hey, all you associations out there, shop us out.
I mean, I'm excited to do it again. Like, now I feel like we've kind of, like I said, crossed that threshold where it's like, all right, now I have an idea of how this is going to pan out. And now I think we can actually be a lot more creative with it, because we have that kind of the first.
We had a lot of ideas, but the honest truth was that we didn't know how to pull them off in that amount of time. You know, like, we wanted to do everything and all the things, but at the same time, we knew we had to do something. So
it's a really good way to put it, actually.
Because we can dream for a long time. We're really good at that part.
But I think that, like, I'm going to speak for our show, James. Like, we don't plan very much at all.
You can tell Joe didn't read the questions.
I gave him the question.
Yeah, that's the sadder part, is you told me the question.
But I think that, like, I put too much, like, stress into worrying about something that I normally never worry about. When we go to tape these shows, I don't spend hours going, what are we going to talk about? How is this going to work? We just get on and talk. And I think I was, at least I'm speaking for myself, I was so concerned about how it was going to translate live. Because
right here, 8 hours waiting to do it too, which didn't help.
Well, this is like a safe space. That's what it starts to feel like right now, because you're in your home. It's a safe space. Like, being out in public and having to do something really, really, you know, was just a different.
I'm stressing about next year.
Are you?
I'm speaking like 4 times in Q1 in person, all of them. I don't even.
Oh, what are you talking about? Anything good?
I don't know.
He's not sure yet.
Yeah, I haven't made it. No. I mean, I've done the presentation before, but it's just been so long, you know, the in-person stuff is, the show is different. Recording live at AGA and SGA was laid back. It wasn't no big deal. But speaking, you know, making time and delivering good content.
For me, though, buddy, that doesn't bug me. Like
No.
I could get up and talk in front of anybody. I don't care. It's for me, the problem is putting together the content, because that's where I start to get nervous. Whereas you guys are really good content people and can do that. It's that kind of that different.
I really enjoy that part, like building that. I'm a nerd.
Yeah,
like
I
that.
don't.
I really like making PowerPoint, not feel like PowerPoint.
Joe doesn't even want it to see it before you do it. Like he's like, just kind of give me a broad overview of what's going to happen, and I'll just take it from there.
Yeah, I can't. I'm way better that way. I just don't.
So I have a new one this year that I'm speaking on called Kickstarting a Culture. And I'm really excited about that one. I've got a couple of them lined up this year already.
When's your book deal coming out?
I don't know. It's tied up because Jim's involved.
Yeah, well, then
It's because Jim can't. It's because Jim can't write. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean. He wants to put it out as a power couple, and he can't write.
Yeah, you want me to take care of that problem for you, James?
I know that, Chad. Why don't you ask the next one? I want to know like the you know, for them what the, you know, go ahead, ask a question.
Oh yes.
I think Ted should have to ask it now.
Ted's here.
Go ahead, Ted.
He doesn't even know what we're talking about.
Every time I go to talk, Joe just starts a new subject. So
now you know what it's like being with you in person.
Ted, let's go back to the first question, and you just fill us in along the way.
Peaches. Do you guys like peaches?
I do like peaches.
Go ahead, Teddy.
We've been doing these shows for a while now. Over the last year and a half, there's been so many memories, so many experiences, so many different trials and tribulations you've had to overcome and whatnot. However, it's not all been bad or good, but there's got to be some moment in it that was very rewarding for you. And what was probably the most rewarding moment of the last year and a half for you?
I really like that one. That's a great question, man. Y'all are hitting them with the good stuff.
We just copied the ones you asked us.
Oh. Yeah, there were a lot of moments along the way. The in-person stuff, I don't know that I can match that. Like at AGA, the vibe that we put together for that, I wish we had, 10,000 square foot to build really what you want,
Yeah, it was awesome.
But what we were able to do with the amount of money we spent and with really the space we had and the cards that we were dealt in that respect, and we just brought like a power team. Like I've never felt so good about the group. No offense to past groups, but we just had all the right people for the moment. Like we got lucky too. Like that we just.
So who didn't go this year then?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was so opportunistic. Everybody was so aligned and bought in, and it was just a vibe. And the show brought so many people to the table. I've never had anything that drew people like that. I mean, and I've thought we did well at other places. Don't get me wrong. I've designed them all, and they didn't perform like that. And then I was like, well, it's AGA. Nobody's been out for a while. And then we went to SGA to bring the same vibe to, a hall. Just told me that there was a place for it,
Yeah.
And so really what I felt like nailing that spot, and I'll make the continuation of that because it's really a whole thing. So that month was about 4 shows that were big that we had planned for, right? And we all rode the ride, right?
Yep.
But those 2 were the pinnacle, like ones that we planned for. We had a lot of involvement, brand new stuff, all the things, all the planning. But the bigger part was how the team executed on getting it out so quickly. And I mean, we would put in an 18-hour day, go back to our rooms, and
they'd have content for
Ashley would be sending content back home.
It's crazy.
And I would be uploading, and she'd be posting on.
We've been
socials.
trying to hire Ashley since that show.
Everyone has been, right? And so we were pinging things back and forth, and it was happening. And we would wake up in the morning to go down to the hall, and there would be the file to upload and put it on socials for the day before. Like, it was executed near perfectly by the group that was there. And from a continuation through the end of it, but also past that, we put out content for 8 weeks for those 2 shows, right? So that, how many shows have you been to that 90% that you walk into, and then you get 4 hours of unopposed time in the hall, and beyond that, there's nothing left of that show to hang your hat on. Yeah. You may get a list of people or something to email, but to have that much exposure for that long, that's maximizing that.
So I have to give you some credit that was, ties directly into your obviously rewarding moment right there. So my wife owns a marketing company, and she praised the EWN team because she follows you guys on socials and across all your platforms and everything. And she just said, holy smokes, they're doing a tremendous job. They've got live updates, and this is just going so seamless. And she goes, that was amazing to see how flawlessly it was executed.
Did she then say, what the hell's wrong with you guys?
No comment. No comment. But she did. So for that to actually, for you to realize that in a moment and say, that was
I just want to cut in there, Teddy. It's Wendell Street Marketing.
Yeah.
Eileen Pete. There are free ads once in a while for people that are related to us.
Yeah.
Teddy's gonna buy us dinner for that one.
I'm not buying you guys dinner ever.
It's just expensive.
Yeah.
Well,
I take it back. It's Xavier Street Marketing.
I think
Street Marketing and documentation, but
I will say one thing about that real quick that I loved personally, and that was the look that we brought there, the old school Miami Vice kind of vibe. So that wasn't something that we saw. All that shirt right there, right? And y'all remember the booth and everything. So that was
didn't have that plan, by the way.
Such a reach, right? Such a reach in what to do. But the color palette that we chose and using that for everything we produced and put out from AGA, that was what was killer, because we were pumping out so much stuff that my feed in LinkedIn was covered in that color. And so there was no other reason for that color to be around, right?
Right.
And so being able to see that and feel it and know that we execute, like I said, it was a swarm.
I wish we could do AGA once every 3 months. It was just,
it was so good.
It was awesome.
One of the biggest takeaways for me from all this, man, and I said it when I talked to you, but I think it manifested itself even more, and I know it did for you guys too, is that when you're at these shows and there's a lot going on and there's a lot of moving pieces, you're never, ever, ever feel like you're working.
No.
Like, it's just,
you get tired. You're tired and exhausted.
You realize that when you sit down and take your boots off, at the end of the day, and you're like,
but I think one of the things that was the craziest for me is that we changed, you did too, we changed the ideology of what it's like to bring a trade show booth together.
Yes.
And people had fun with that. And I was like, man, I looked around at a lot of people that were like, what are these wacky guys doing? Right. Yeah. And we, all of us, and, we're made a commotion wherever we went, but everybody wanted to have fun with it and be a part of that. And I felt like if nothing else, the next time we go to AGA, I'll be really interested to see how the dynamics have changed for some other people and what they do to try to say, you know what, you guys have kind of opened the door to change that, that stiffy or stuffness, that stiff kind of environment. What are they going
MPS, male pound stale.
And honestly,
pound stale, yeah.
And I think I'll be feeling like, man, if we go and there's a couple like really unique things that are happening in the AGA in another year or 2 years, I'm going to be like,
it feels like we have part of it to do with it.
We had a part of that. Yeah.
Well, it's like seeing podcasts pop up now. I mean, everybody, I said, just get ready. Once we got past AGA and SGA, and
they just start popping up.
When we won the award, Jimmy, I remember texting Jimmy because we hadn't even got back, and there was like an announcement. It was coincidental. I mean, it's not like they decided it after that, but I go, get ready. There'll be 40 by next year, which is awesome.
It's the best thing that could happen for our
no
industry.
doubt,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Like,
And
please.
to be
Very
the
hard to
population-
sustain, though. Very
Very
hard
hard to sustain, and we
very
know
hard
that.
to get past 15 and then 50 and then 100. I hope people can do it. I honestly do. It's the best.
We
Like
need
you
more
just said, Joe, it's the
awareness,
best for our
more-
industry.
When you said that, you know, when we got to those benchmarks, I remember thinking, holy smokes, you know, like 15 episodes. And then
When we hit the 1 year
we
mark,
looked at it and said, well, that was good, but like I heard the real benchmark is 50 episodes. And then when we were like, all right, well, then you get past, you know, 75, and it was like, well, no, the real benchmark is 100 episodes. The real
Joe
ones
thought
get
it was
100.
9 when we started. When
I
Joe
stopped.
at 9, he was like, "What are we gonna do? Like 100 in a year? What's gonna?" I'm like, "Yeah, probably."
I
We're
stopped
gonna do-
preparing.
52 is the goal for a year. 52.
That was the week he stopped preparing as well.
So
9.
We used to
Really?
have an agenda.
Really? wait a minute. All right, I'm not going to get into this now.
Yeah.
But I'm the one who's not prepared. Let's
This is
just
my
be honest,
favorite,
right? I'm the
favorite
one.
meeting today.
Yeah.
by the way.
I know because you told us in the pre-call that this is your technically last day of work for the year, right?
Don't tell anyone. I feel like
Yeah.
they'll schedule a meeting.
Don't worry, we're not going to post this till after the
No,
holiday.
don't worry about it. It's not recorded or anything.
But I don't. So I want to let you get to what you got to do and enjoy your time. It is Friday.
I call it Super Friday.
So this is Super Friday. The one word that you asked us, the one word question you asked us, and we want to ask you, what is the one word that you would use to describe? And we didn't add this, but I'm gonna jump on you a little bit. What was the one word you'd use to describe yourself first, and then what one word would you use to describe Mr. Crazy Man Jim?
I really didn't prepare because I
I
told
know
y'all
that's why we're
I
asking.
I just got the email 5 minutes.
I had just
before.
sent it 3 minutes before you thought you got it.
Again, preparation is our strong suit here.
It is.
Connections for life.
I'll start with Jimmy.
Okay.
I have got to learn, see him in some of his most vulnerable moments and at his best, and that dude is like 100% like
All the
in
time.
all the time, and all that he does. I mean, his heart is, he's all in, man. Once he knows enough, he's 100%.
If you hyphenate that, it's fine. All in. It's fine.
100. Just the emoji, you know, like I'm telling you, he dedicated. He's bought in. You can bring him along, you can drag him along. He's in, man, and that's hard to find. You know, people are wishy-washy. People are don't want to put in the work. Don't want to understand it. He has a lot of excuses he could use, and he doesn't use a single one of them. You know,
That's awesome. I think it's cool that you guys, I mean, you talked about it in the beginning part, that it wasn't like you and Jim were like great friends when you started doing this.
I
You
hated
guys
Jim.
were-
Yeah,
Huh? Yeah.
I hated him. Yeah.
Well, we all did initially. But I mean, you were more peers, and now I think you guys are probably really, close. And
They were too close.
well, but that's an unintended like byproduct of the
Yeah.
show, is that you become closer with each other.
And as much as we make fun of Teddy, we love Teddy just that much. Like that, but that's one of the reasons why. Well,
I'll just make him sit down there in that box. Like he didn't even get to talk. Or
in your
nothing.
box, Ted.
stay over
You
there,
know what?
Teddy.
You know why he doesn't get to talk much? Honestly, it's because he chooses not to, and he has
That is
since the
true.
very beginning. So don't let him fool you that every time he says that, oh, you guys don't let me talk.
He's gone.
Who was that? Was that Eileen? We could have said hi. Wendell's
get in here,
barking at
Eileen.
the door.
He chooses not to. So don't let him fool you. It's not something we.
Oh, there's
drive-
times when we don't let him talk too, though.
Well, but because now it's become a comedy routine. Like, it's just funny. But I mean,
When the
in
show
all-
started, it was the initial concept was I was going to be like the narrator, the introduction to the show guy,
Like the
and
producer
exit to
almost.
the show guy, and let Joe and Chad conduct the interviews and so spot. Then it got a little creepy through some of the episodes when it was Joe, Chad, and there's just me sitting there waiting. Hi, welcome to the show.
Who
And then
are
I'd be
you?
like, Ted, you should ask.
Thanks
the
for
next
joining us
question.
on the show. And it was video, and I was like sitting here, and it was like,
he's like this.
What do I do with my hands?
yeah.
What do I do with my
understand, but-
hands?
I got you.
No, but we'll let you go, buddy. Oh wait, we didn't do you. You didn't say you almost
tried to get out of
It's
there.
almost unfair.
Tried
I don't
that.
feel like you could even prepare for that.
I don't care if it's
Man,
unfair.
You don't think
Did
I
you
could talk
prepare?
about
I didn't
myself?
prepare.
We know, Joe.
Did I ask y'all that specific question, or was it
No,
just
you
No,
asked
it
us
was
for our
just about the
colleagues.
co-host, not ourselves.
So I can't do that. I can't do it in one word. I will tell you what my mantra is, and that's to lead with my heart. And that whether it's at work, at home, and wherever, I don't want to have to take hats off and put them back on. I think it serves the purpose in whatever I'm doing, and I don't feel like I'm somewhere where I have to compromise that. And that's a really good place to be.
It's awesome.
Very
Wow.
thankful for the group that I get to work with, the company that allows me to, influence this thing we're building, and creating a culture that is, I don't know. It's all, I say it all the time. I'm just building something that I want to work at too. Like,
But I mean, you work for an organization that allows you that gives you the trust. They trust in you that you are doing, even though it's like you said, it's kind of, I don't want to say selfish. It's not like self-serving, but you're creating the world that you want to live in, and they agree with that concept, and they allow you the flexibility.
it's not, and for a bad reason or maliciously. It's really for the better. And I'm blessed to have that opportunity, and the more, reach that I get, like it's weird to think that I'm over HR, but also really awesome. Like that I'm trusted that much, not just with the external brand, but with the internal people, and earning that respect and taking my lumps through that, and learning so much of how we can build something even better. And man, I'm blessed to be doing it.
Well, James, I gotta interject there. So Joe and Chad know this a lot about me, and you might know it by now, but I'm a guy who lives by like those little mantras and phrases and whatnot. And they find a lot of value in my life, and yours that you said there rang true to me, to one that I've lived by, and it was essentially typically spoken in a negative tone, and that's, if someone shows you their heart the first time, believe them. And for yours to be, to follow your heart, lead with your heart, that shows. And just personally speaking, in the relationship, like when we met through this, but we've grown from it. And if you're leading with your heart, I genuinely feel like that's who we met, and I believed it from the jump, and that's pretty awesome, man. So for that, from the bottom of my heart, personally, thank you so much for this past 2 years of chaos that we've been going through with this, or almost 2 years. Thank you for going on this rodeo of a webcast / podcast /
whatever. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, together
and supporting us. I mean, you've been our extra tent pole when we needed it, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
I
just want to say again, Teddy said it, but thanks. I don't know what, maybe we'll do this in another year and say what's happened in the last 12 months. I just want to say, I respect the hell out of you guys. I respect what you're doing. I knew Jim prior to this. I think that was the only real relationship is between Jim and I, because of on our travels. But we've gotten to know you.
It's weird to think we met in person in October.
Florida. Yeah, in October. And the minute we met, it felt like, kinship.
And I've never hugged a man I've never met before.
I have, but that's different. Whole different story. Different show.
It's not true, but
different background for that.
After hours.
That's CFL After Dark.
Shout out.
But no, in all
Brown, we're gonna need you to edit that out.
We're gonna give you a chance to cry on our show. Like I cried on your show, if you like.
Go ahead, let it rip.
I'm really into that. I've cried so many times today.
Hey man, go enjoy Super Friday.
Super Friday.
Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for all that you do to support us, motivate us, and continue to push us along. I don't know if we'd be feeling as successful about our show as if you guys didn't go through the journey with us and be part of that. And we appreciate you. And like I said, we love you guys to death. So
thanks for doing what you do for the industry more than anything, probably.
Hey man, same to y'all. We all have a voice. I'm really appreciative to share that with y'all. So thank you so much, man.
Can't wait to see what next year looks like.
Amen.
Mr. Cross, what a pleasure it was having you on the show.
Wow.
Wow, what a great interview.
We're gonna add that to the compilation.
The compilation of Ted's outros from the interview.
Cross, Mr. Cross. Yeah, you know, I want to just say, like, we've been on their show, that now they've been on ours. We finally completed the circle. It only took us 2 years. But you know, James is somebody that, like, I think through this whole thing, like, has been initially pretty quiet, right? Like, when we started talking to James, he didn't like seem to have a lot to say. He was a pretty quiet guy. And since we've gotten to know him, now we've gotten to know him a little bit more and gotten to know like what he's about and what he does and how passionate he is about what he does and what they do. He's really turned into a good friend of ours and also like somebody that I think we look up to a little
100%.
bit with what they're doing and what their show's achieving and what they're doing with their marketing. Like, we are so late years behind that.
And the help they gave us. I mean, we couldn't have done some of this
100%.
stuff without him.
I mean, you know,
crazy.
I don't know if we actually thanked him for that enough, but you know, what they did for us at SGA and just everything. It's been fun to do this show. It's been awesome to do what we're doing, but it's been even more incredible to do it with alongside another group that's doing the same thing and being able to have that open platform and idea sharing and communication and some of the collaborative stuff that we've done. It's just been a really big honor for me to get to know James. So James, thank you. You know, it's awesome that over a 2-year period, I've met you twice in person, 2 shows in the last, 4 months ago. And, you know, now I consider you a really good friend of mine. And I just want to say thanks for always supporting us and being, you know, being a big supporter of our show. So,
yeah,
that's it. Chad,
what am I going to say? You took it all.
Yeah, you took all of it. Thanks, James.
You
We
couldn't
really,
even
really
leave, like, a little
appreciate you.
nibble.
I'm gonna leave everything. You guys just aren't creative.
So moving on to the next section of the show, because we get to talk after.
Oh, I have something, by the way, Teddy, after you.
We just want to, you know, we want to bring up a little industry update. You know, while where Joe and I live, the world is kind of on pause again.
Oh my God.
Out from the Omicron.
I call it, oh my God.
On February 17th through the 22nd, the Distribution Contracts Association 61st annual convention, Phoenix, Arizona, will be taking place. Myself, some of our principals, McElroy will be out there. Dan Pajak will be in attendance with us, and we'll be seeing our good friend Rob Darden. The Vice President of DCA, Ben Nelson, will be handing the President of DCA baton off at this event. It's a big event, man. I'm excited to be able to attend. And for those of our viewers who are in that contractor kind of market or auxiliary kind of market, please check out the DCA.
Yeah, I just got an email saying that it went virtual. I'm just kidding.
Quit.
No, that's cool. Chad and I probably most likely won't be at that show. We're going to campaign to try to see if we can get there. So, you know, we'll let you know if that changes, but
it'd be awesome.
Not very likely.
Odds are low.
They like to keep us in our own kennel.
Odds are low. What do you got, Joe?
So did you guys see that Germany is shutting down 3 of their nuclear power
plants? Where? Did
you see that?
No, I had an industry update.
Yeah, well, this is kind of industry. I'll get there. You didn't even let me finish.
Go ahead.
So they're shutting down 3 nuclear power plants because they deem them to be unsafe.
Saw that.
Whereas many people believe that nuclear is kind of the next evolution because it is technically green and all that good stuff. The interesting part is that the government of Germany is now actually going to be using more natural gas because they've shut down the power plants to be able to bridge the gap until they get to a point where they can maybe use more, non-fossil fuels, renewable. So I thought that was interesting. So they're phasing out 3 plants, which were going to be done by, I think, the end of next year. I don't know if that's right or not. And all their coal-fired power plants too. So they're phasing all that, the nuclear and all the coal out, and they're going to be transitioning to mostly natural gas. So I thought that was a pretty good, little tire pump for natural gas that it's being used in more abundance in an area where they're very fiscally conservative, or not fiscally conservative with their energy. So, pipelines are safer apparently than nuclear. Apparently they deem them.
My guess is we're going to be able to go around the world like 192 times within the next 10 years.
Well, keep in mind, Chad, my stat was only gas piping in the United States. I didn't do the world.
Sorry.
So the world
really
might
bad
go around
world,
one
yeah.
time in Teddy's world.
Not my world.
Approximately one time.
We'll fall a little short.
Smidgen.
So
Anyway.
I just all I had was another industry update for NACE or AMP 2022.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't know that
Corrosion
you- I didn't know
2022, whatever it was. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
March 6th through the 10th in San Antonio. I'll be there along with Dan. Dan seems like the common denominator in those two things. That was interesting, Joe. That is, I know you've probably told us before. And maybe we can talk about it next week. But I wonder how many nuclear plants are left in the world, really. I mean, I just wonder because they are deemed unsafe, but they're also, if they can figure out a way to do it, kind of like anything else, they're good.
Well, it's just like one of those things, man. Like it's not a problem until it's a problem.
Right. Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Like these things can go for forever until somebody, Homer Simpson forgot to put the isotope back in the right. There are 440
isotopes.
They're 449.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
It seems like a lot.
It did.
Maybe that was at the height.
Now that's
operational is 449. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
There's 93 in the United States.
Yeah, there's one right outside the King of Prussia outlets.
Yeah, that's
Allentown or whatever.
No, it's not. I can. That's 3 Mile Island, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There's only like 2 countries that don't have them. Like 2 big countries.
What are
Turkey and Bangladesh.
Which are
Who has the most?
coincidentally next to each other, I believe.
Who do you think has the most?
Chad Kuvo.
Russia.
Mother Russia.
Even after their Chernobyl.
They only have 38. We have by far the most. But I don't understand this. This is operational and then react. I don't know. This could be totally false. I have no idea.
All right.
I think we should let our guests go.
It's a lot. They weren't here. This is just us talking.
We can record for another 6 hours. No one would even pay attention to what we're doing.
I love it.
Let's do that. Let's just leave it on one day while we're actually doing work and other things and see if anybody wants. Chad, put on your glasses again.
We're gonna head on out of here. We're gonna say yeehaw as Chad rides
riding shotgun.
Chad's riding shotgun.
She is.
And
who is that?
No,
he has no idea.
I googled riding shotgun background.
Ellie Mae Clampett. Who is that? What
That
was the famous stagecoach or the robber duo? What was it? Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, but they had a car.
Yeah, they were not.
Oh, they did?
Yeah,
I
they were
thought they
definitely
were-
not stagecoach robbers.
Did they really? I don't know anything about this.
No.
Hold on. Famous.
No, all right, we're gonna go.
Oh boy, there we go. We gotta go.
Oh, hold on.
Bye, guys. We
Hold on.
love you. We'll talk to you next week.
See you guys.
Like, subscribe, share, comment.
Please.
Bye, Doug. Bye, Leroy.
Bye.